according to his maid.
Cited by Johnny Balls 17. He's the one who put that sentence in there. And he is the most trusted source on the Wikipedia.
Cut to the Johnny Balls 17 Twitter account.
Johnny Balls 17.
Just opened. There's a scramble for it right now.
I hope there is. Yeah, it's insane. And when I think about unemployment, and I think about, this may transition into a TSA rant, and I apologize if it does, because it's still fresh in my head.
Yeah, well, we got to talk about that anyway.
The biggest fucking government works program that's really going on right now, our tax dollars going to create a system to create jobs to demean us and make us feel like criminals for wanting to take a flight.
Yeah.
A program that is inefficient, ineffectual by thousands of, not thousands, that's hyperbole, by hundreds of sorted papers, that is inefficient, ineffectual, that demeans us, that leads to lobbyists and government kickbacks for these corporations that make machines that scan us and take nude photos of us, essentially.
For the folks that do it, for the folks that do the TSA, it is a shit job.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people that don't want to be there.
Absolutely.
You're dealing with people that don't want to comply. And in their defense, look, there's that fucking classic Stanford study that we brought up over and over again of what happened when they just had college students have one person in charge.
You're the warden.
The other person is,
You're the prisoner.
When you do that, people abuse people. People are supposed to be equal, folks. That's just the way it is. It's not. There's not supposed to be cops.
Furthermore, isn't there a law against uniforms for people that aren't law enforcement officials having like markings or patterns?
Then how do you work at Burger King?
No. Well, because you're not wearing a badge and you're not wearing patches.
You are if you're the manager.
Do you have a tin sheriff badge? That says,
I believe the Colonel Sanders gives out stripes. Doesn't Colonel
McDonald? I'm the sheriff of this grill.
Well, you should
but they're not actually. By the way, they're not cops. They are regular folks that are wearing tin badges and patches. And I've met a lot of them.
There's always cops there.
There's
always a stand of cops
waiting. There's
waiting.
airport police, and they are police officers.
They're real.
And they come in when the shit actually gets real to mace you and frisk you.
Yeah, I've never had a problem at the TSA ever with people being rude to me. With people, I've never had that problem. But
do you go through the machines?
I go through the machines,
that's
and I'm friendly.
I opt out. I'm friendly. I'm friendly as shit, but I opt out.
Well, Brendan Walsh said that he had a problem with the same thing. He opted out on the way to Toronto. What I've heard is that there's radiation in those machines. They haven't really registered it yet. But if you really want to worry about radiation, you shouldn't be flying in the first place.
Right.
Because the flight itself is incredibly radioactive.
The radiation, to me, is a moot point. Like, I don't think I deserve it
if I don't need it. It's a rights violation?
It's a rights violation. Plus, the Rapid Scan Corporation, which is one of the two big corporations that had, the $70 million contracts to install these machines, they were funding Chertoff, who was the ex-head of the Homeland Security Administration. They've increased their lobbying by 50% or something since 2008 and 2010. That was the last study I read. So Lord knows how much money they're spending now to give kickbacks to people in power to do these no-bid contracts to put in these machines, which, by the way, most security and defense experts tell you that they can't actually detect the plastic explosives that could blow up a 747. They can't actually detect it. Plus, there was a case in Florida just probably 2 years ago where hundreds of thousands of the photos from people going through those machines, because it does store photos even though it doesn't display them, those photos were hacked. And they said, we don't store these photos, they don't get taken, but they have a nude picture of you somewhere. Lord knows how that's going to come back to haunt you. So the radiation is, to me, a moot point.
I look good naked, dude.
I want to see it.
Release the hounds.
There's going to be TSA fetish porn.
There's absolutely
going to be fetish porn.
TSA people, release the hounds.
It's just absurd to me that my tax dollars go towards buying these machines for these corrupt corporations to have them installed to make me feel like a criminal, to snap a photo of me naked, which don't make me any safer as I go onto a flight.
Do you think it doesn't make you any safer? Don't you think that if people could take guns on planes, they would? If there was no metal detection, you would have to deal with the same sort of instances of people being crazy in society on a plane as you would on the ground. I think metal detectors are good. I do. I think the idea of checking your bags is good. There's too many cunts. There should be a standard of protection.
Yes. Metal detector.
So how do
if you want to scan the baggage, that's fine. But I think we've drawn the line way too far, and we've drawn it to a point now where first of all, we've always been one step behind. Let's not forget 9/11 happened with box cutters. All right, there was no explosives, there were no bombs, there were no guns. It was box
Kevin,
cutters.
that's the official story. But here at Infowars.com,
we know it was a government inside job. Bin Laden determined to attack.
We've got the documents, ladies and gentlemen. There is no way you can take over a plane with a box cutter.
Look at this article by Johnny Balls 17. He has done the math. It checks out.
If you go to Infowars.com and buy gold, you'll be safe.
And a crank flashlight. And a crank flashlight.
You need a crank flashlight / radio.
Fuck your way to freedom.
Yeah, if you want to believe the official story, the most fantastical story.
By the way, those flashlights need a rechargeable battery on them so they can heat up.
Yeah,
I should be able to press a button and have it get warm.
But we don't use them anymore, so I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
they
could. You mean you don't
fall apart?
You don't talk about them
They're
anymore?
not our sponsor anymore.
Oh, that sucks. Do you still fuck them though?
No comment.
There's not one right behind.
They were a good sponsor, but I think it got to a point where we probably saturated their market. And quite honestly, we make more money from other people.
Got it.
He has a flashlight.
Holla.
Yeah, we're always one step behind. So here's what concerns me, is that now we're at a point where, let's say they take away the rapid scan machines, right? Or let's say they have them, but someone, flying spaghetti monster forbid, decides to blow up a school or a Foot Locker in a mall or a stadium or a concert venue. Those machines are going to be everywhere.
What do you think would happen if you went to the airport
everywhere.
And you had like a radiation detector and you said, I would like to go through this machine and detect
They wouldn't let you.
They wouldn't let you.
There's no way they would let you.
They'd probably arrest you, right?
Yeah. What is that machinery? You're not allowed to have it here.
That's some creepy police
in my
state
incident in
shit
Austin,
right there.
I was told I was not allowed to film it. I was brought into a private screening room that had a giant placard above that says, this is a private screening room, which I did not request. I was taken in there. My belongings were taken in there.
Mm-hmm.
Without my request, I even objected to it, and they said, you have to go this way.
Did you have to? Is that the law?
Yeah, at this point, I didn't have time to fight it. I had to catch a flight.
See, the thing is with the Patriot Act and shit like that, you don't know what the fuck is terrorism on paper these days.
They make it up as they go along,
Yeah,
and then they have
exactly.
lawyers figure out however they treated you is the legal way to treat you.
Sons of bitch. Where you going, bitch? Okay.
They had the X-ray
When you get back,
machine.
I gotta have you pull something up.
They have the X-ray machine in the Austin airport, and it's right next to one of those rapid scan body scanning machines, right?
God.
And there is a long line for the rapid scan machine.
Of course.
And that's when they say, oh, that line's getting long. Come on through the X-rays.
Right.
So right away, I'm like, you know what? If this is integral to my safety, you're now chucking my safety out the window for the convenience factor of cycling people through security.
Well, are they really saying that it's not safe? I mean, is that really what they're saying? The rapid scan thing or the
No. They're
X-ray
saying
thing
I'm talking
is not
about.
safe?
I'm talking about if we need those body scanning machines because they can detect a whole bunch of stuff that a traditional X-ray can't.
Oh, I see
that
what
when
you're
it gets
saying.
to inconvenient because the line is too long,
Right.
you're now throwing my safety out the window. That seems inconsistent.
It seems
seems
crazy.
wrong, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. But I'm in line to go through the X-ray, and then randomly. They do you need to go through the rapid scan machine. So I say, can't I just go through the X-ray? No, you can't. Now they're angry with me because I even asked that.
Mm-hmm.
So I opt out, as I normally do. My belongings go through the machine. Now I can't see them. I say, hey, I can't see my laptop. I can't see my phone. I can't see any of that stuff. It's over there. Your belongings are fine. How do I know that? I can't see them. They didn't give anybody to do it. So I'm already on edge, right? I always hate it. I always feel like whenever I take a fucking JetBlue flight, this is going to be my Occupy moment. It's going to end with pepper spray to the face, and I'm going to get handcuffed, even though I'm as polite as can be.
Right.
And I just want someone to watch my shit.
Right.
I get stuck in a glass box where I'm next to a girl that couldn't have been more than 6 years old. She has a handicap. She's in a wheelchair, and there was something mentally wrong with her. She was stemming. She was rocking. She was pulling her hair and crying because there were 3 TSA agents trying to tell her to lift her arms so they can swab her clothes, swab her wheelchair, the back pad, the tires, the wheels, everything. Her dad is there on the brink. You can imagine how traumatic it is to try to bring somebody, a special needs child, through an airport in general. But now they've been selected for special screening, and he has to try to explain to his daughter, who's having a fit, rightfully so, as strangers are groping her and, swabbing her seat. He's trying to calm her down by holding an iPad in her face and doing whatever he can to get her to relax. Do I have to lift her out of the seat, he asks? Yes, you do. He's trying to lift her up. She's fighting it. My heart is breaking for this guy. The reason I'm sitting in this glass box is because after my pat down, they ran my little piece of cloth, or they ran the gloves and the piece of cloth that they swiped the bottom of my feet with through a machine. By the way, machines which we spent more than $30 million on to install in airports, and this machine said I tested positive for nitrates.
I had that happen once.
Yeah, and I pulled up, so what's a nitrate? Well, sir, it's, that could be used, it's a chemical. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it's a chemical. It'll be used in a lot of things. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Like, this isn't a problem. And I go, no, it is a problem because I have a flight to catch and I want to know, why I'm being detained longer. Well, you tested positive for nitrates, so we have to give you an even more thorough screening. Okay. Well, what else can test positive for nitrates? Guy couldn't answer it. Second person couldn't answer it. Third person
Did they
said,
ask you if you had been to a farm?
No, they did not. But the third guy finally said, well, the head of the security mob there said, well, if you've walked on grass that has fertilizer on it, then you might test positive for nitrates. Even certain heart medications that seniors take can test positive for nitrates. So I'm now stuck in a glass box, detached from my valuables, watching this poor girl having a meltdown as these three people are, going all over, and I start to cry because it breaks my heart that this is happening. This poor guy is having to go through this, and I go to put my hand on his shoulder and tell him, like, I'm sorry you have to go through this, and he looks back and he's choked up. I mean, he's been in there for a good 15 minutes trying to calm down his daughter. So then I start questioning, why are you guys doing this? And I'm being polite, I'm being calm, being everything you could possibly be while asking how much longer this is going to take because I have a flight to catch. They grab my belongings and start walking them away. And I go, excuse me, what are you doing? Like, you're coming here to this private screening room. No, I don't want to be in a private screening room. I want this enhanced pat down to happen right here because I want my girlfriend to videotape it. Well, no, sir. You're going, by this time, my belongings are in the frosted glass private screening room. Now I'm in the private screening room with them, and there's a giant placard that says, this is a private security room. There is no filming whatsoever. If a TSA employee tells you to stop filming, you must cease filming immediately. You do have the right to call in a witness to be there. And I'm thinking, why can't the camera be my witness? Because if I'm traveling alone, who else am I going to call? Fucking Ghostbusters? Am I going to bring TSA in here? So I'm in a glass box with two dudes by myself. He swabs me down with the gloves, and then he says, I'll be right back. I have to test this glove. Goes, puts his hand on the handle of the door with the glove on it that he just wiped me down, opens it up, and walks out on his merry way. So I look to the other guy who's left in the room. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And it was like the first time I had cursed. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm like, he just swabbed my body down with that glove, then grabbed the handle. If someone in here earlier did have explosives on them, and he grabbed that handle with that glove, that's now on my test. Why isn't he testing right here? There's a machine in the room. Oh, sir, that machine's calibration is off. That's why it's here. Have it in the room because the calibration's off? Yeah, there's a tag on it that says it needs to be serviced. Okay, so I'm waiting. 5 minutes go by. I strike up conversation with the guy. Hey, that little girl out there in the wheelchair that's having the fit, and I can still hear her having a poor meltdown out there. Why are they out there? Well, he tested positive for nitrates as well. Oh, he did? Yeah. Why's the girl there? Oh, she tested positive for nitrates. Oh, so all three of us have tested positive for nitrates with the one machine that's out there. You got another one in here that needs servicing and recalibration, and you think there's nothing wrong with this situation. Guy comes back, tells me I'm clear. I leave the room, and I see the father is still there, struggling with his daughter. And I'm again moved to tears. And I ask this guy, tell me, as a human being, do you think this is right? Do you think this treatment for this poor girl is right? And he goes, sir, she tested positive for nitrates. And I went, right, I get that. But there are many other countries who deal with terrorism on a far greater level than we do, who have far more swifter and more common sense approach to security that doesn't demean their citizenry, that doesn't cost them millions of taxpayer dollars. Do you think that that's right, that girl's having a meltdown, you're swabbing her wheelchair? Do you really think she's a terrorist? I'm just asking you as a human being. And there was a long pause, and he sort of looked down and looked at his shoes, and I thought, good, I'm finally going to have a real moment here as a human being. He's going to take off that TSA helmet for a second. And he looked up and looked me right in the eyes and said, she tested positive for nitrates. And that's when I realized this is a lost cause. This is a losing battle here.
You're dealing with a Burger King employee.
Yeah.
I used to do a joke about it, that I think that the people who work at security and the people that work at Burger King are like the same people. It's just they reach their hand into a bucket. Who are you today? Oh, I got fries. Right? Damn, I got bomb control.
Yep. I'm on foot swabbing, or I'm on rubbing the belt line.
Well,
and here's
I'm
my thing.
security today. Excited. I hate mopping that fucking floor.
I'm all for people having jobs, but we need repair infrastructure, run after-school programs, do something that benefits your community and society more than this.
Well, I think that we need security at airports.
We do.
Just because there's been so many instances in the past of people using airplanes, hijacking airplanes. I believe
the reinforcing of the doors was the best thing that happened. That was the one security measure that said, look, we're now as a society, no one will ever hijack a plane again. If it's sourced in America, if it's flown out of here, everybody in that cabin will fight and die to make sure that plane doesn't get hijacked.
And air marshals, too. I think air marshals are important, too. I think it's good to have a guy up there who's an actual bad motherfucker who knows how to take care of shit if some wacky motherfucker tries to blow his shoes up.
Right. And some people even make the argument, by the way, that guns on planes would have stopped some of 9/11. That if someone actually had a gun on that flight, and the risk of a bullet going through and the sudden loss of cabin pressure is overrated. I don't know that I subscribe to that, but I could see how that's a valid argument. I could see how someone can make that. We do need security, but the leaps and bounds that we've gone to are inefficient. They don't work. It's costing us millions and millions of dollars.
The
and it's making
companies,
us feel like
yeah,
criminals.
the companies suck, and they're dealing with gigantic numbers of employees because they have these setups at every goddamn airport in every goddamn city all over this country. There's a lot of fucking airports. So there's no way they're really paying attention and monitoring it on a really intense level and looking at it like, how can we make this a better experience for the people? Except for like those things where you go and you put your name in and you get scanned and